my real wonderful lawn.
Let's talk about how to fertilize the lawn and what's happening. You know, a couple of years ago, our wonderful legislature did put into effect the fertilizer law of 2011, which limits the type of fertilizer, specifically phosphorus, that can be applied to the lawn, and also gave us blockout dates on fertilizer. So we need to follow those laws that they've put in. So anyway, we're going to talk about complete fertilizers. A complete fertilizer is a mixture of fertilizer materials containing primary nutrients. And the primary nutrients, like I said before, are nitrogen. Nitrogen is the #1 nutrient plants need, and you can't test for nitrogen because it's always up and down in the soil. Basically, it's important to note that you do a regular nitrogen regimen, applying enough nitrogen to keep enough vegetative growth that's green on top, and that's going to feed the plant. So nitrogen is what gives you the green color and creates the vegetative growth on the top. Yes, you can overdo nitrogen, and you need to be careful not to overdo the nitrogen. Okay, phosphorus is the second number on the fertilizer bag. So, and like I said, usually you don't need to apply phosphorus, and part of the fertilizer law is that manufacturers are creating phosphorus-free fertilizer now. So you can go into the store and pretty much buy the Scott's fertilizer, and it'll be phosphorus-free. Potassium is the #3 nutrient. Those three are going to be represented on the fertilizer bag. Okay, so if you have a fertilizer that's 25-0-10, that fertilizer contains 25% nitrogen, it contains 0% phosphorus, and it contains 10% potassium. And it needs to be said here that, well, gee, that's only 35%. What's in the rest of the bag? Well, the rest of the bag has carriers and fillers. If it's a slow-release nitrogen, it may have sulfur, which is actually a secondary nutrient. So there's other things that make up that other 65% of the bag. It's not just all nutrients. Okay, so that's a complete fertilizer. Your fertilizer recommendations are always going to be expressed in pounds of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium per 1,000 square feet. Okay, so this should be pretty much your fertilizer maintenance programs. You know, I have 2.7 pounds per 1,000 square feet of nitrogen here, and that's what we do. We put down, well, we're at actually 2.5 to 2.7 pounds. Well, we might be up to about 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, depending on, the lawn. If we think the lawn needs a little bit more, we'll put it down. If not, at certain times of the year, if the lawn's growing good, we can back off a little bit. But the 2.7 pounds comes from the fertilizer law. And the law states that you're not allowed to apply more than 0.9 pounds per 1,000 square feet of actual nitrogen. And again, that's actual nitrogen, that's actual nutrient, that's not fertilizer, that's not the fertilizer product itself. It's the nitrogen that's within, that 25% nitrogen that's in that fertilizer product that you're buying. Okay, so we do 3 applications. We do about 3/4 of a pound here in the spring, which gives you green up. I think that early spring application is important. And then 2/3, you get a really good fertilizer applied in the late summer to help your lawn pull out of the summer stress. We follow up with your final application before November the 15th there in the fall. And that's the time of the year the plants are, rather than making top growth, the plants are actually taking that nitrogen and putting it into the roots of the plants and storing it in the form of carbohydrates for use later on. The 1/3 here in the early spring, like I said, we like the early date because we've got to get your lawn thickening and greening. If you wait until this here, you're going to go March and April without a lawn that's dark green. So I think it's kind of important to note that you have to go a little early with your first application if you want a lawn that's going to be green in April or March and April. Okay, lawns are really kind of starting to green up now. Once again, that soil temperature needs to get up. Once we start to see the soil temperature up, then we're going to start seeing the lawns really start to green up. So you don't want to apply it to frozen ground, and you don't want to apply it to dormant turf. If you have warm season grass, usually we're treating zoysia. We actually kill Bermuda grass. Well, we try to anyway, try to control it with a special program that we have. Folks want Bermuda suppression. The warm season turf needs 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet of nitrogen per year. Usually wait until May, and you're going to do 4 applications, kind of spoon feed it throughout the summertime. So that's the difference between warm season turf, zoysia. If you've got a Bermuda grass, I feel for you. An actual Bermuda grass lawn. Bermuda grass works great on sports fields, but I don't think homeowners really realize what it takes to have a football field out in the front yard. It's not as easy as maybe some people make it look. Okay, so there's your fertilizer bag, 25, 0, 10 fertilizer, and here's your calculation. Okay, so you're going to figure out what is your first question you have. What's your desired rate? How many pounds of actual nitrogen? Again, this is not pounds of fertilizer product. This is pounds of actual nitrogen that you need to apply to the lawn at that given application. Okay, so desired rate of nitrogen divided by the percentage on the bag is going to equal the number of pounds of the fertilizer product that you're going to apply per 1,000 square feet. Okay, so the 0.9 comes from our wonderful fertilizer law. Why they couldn't make it 1 pound, don't ask me. I don't know. They made it 0.9. So anyway, if you can get that close to it, that's great. But if you take 0.90 and you divide it by 0.25, you're going to come out to 3.6 pounds per 1,000 square feet of actual fertilizer in this bag that you're going to apply to the lawn. If your lawn is 5,000 square feet, you're going to take 5 times 3.6, and you need to take 18 pounds of that fertilizer out of your fertilizer bag, put it in your spreader, and try to spread that across your lawn. Okay. If you want 3/4 of a pound per 1,000 square feet of nitrogen, then you're going to do the same math. 3/4 divided by a 0.25 equals 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So at that point, you're going to put 15 pounds of this fertilizer down on a 5,000 square foot lawn. Okay, and then if you want a half a pound, if you can get 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet out of your spreader, that's good. You might get that out of a drop spreader, I'm not sure, but it would almost be better to drop this number so that you're putting down more pounds of product, and then that way you would be able to get closer to that half pound per 1,000 square feet of nitrogen. But if you use this fertilizer calculation with any kind of fertilizer that you buy, this could be 18, this could be 15, this could be well, it won't be as high as 30. Probably the highest is going to be about the highest is going to be 30. But then there's not going to be any other nutrients in there. But when it comes down to it, you can do this math with any fertilizer product that you need, and you'll always come out to the same thing, telling you how many pounds per 1,000 square feet. Okay, so the next part of the equation is figuring out how big your lawn is. And it's basic geometry. You're going to go out to your lawn, you're going to measure the different areas, or you're going to measure the whole area, and then you're going to try to take your house and everything off. And we have online tools now that really help us. If you've got Google Earth, you can go in there with this tool and you can measure your whole property and come up with a measurement. And then you can take your house off, and it comes pretty good. So if there's one thing that I want you to learn, if you're doing your own lawn, you really need to start practicing and putting down the right amount of nitrogen on the lawn, because certainly if we're overdoing the fertilizer and the grass isn't taken up, it can be available to run off and go down the storm drain. So try to follow some best management practices and know what you're doing out there when you're fertilizing. Do your calculations, measure your lawn, know how big the lawn is, and you're going to save money too, because you're not going to buy as much fertilizer. Don't go in and buy the 50-pound bag of Scott's that's on special. It's not a special if it's going to sit in your garage for 3 years, and you're going to end up taking it to the dump on Saturday. So just be aware of what you're doing and try to make some good decisions if you're doing it yourself.
My real wonderful lawn.